Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast series, The Greener Side, where we uncover and discuss topics that strongly influence our lives, ranging from water, environment, climate, finance, community, research, and media. Our guest speakers are individuals who are passionately active and knowledge experts of these diverse sectors. And we are on our journey to understand the challenges and potential solutions for moving on to a greener side. And you're welcome to hop on. So let's begin our episode 4. I'm Sonia, your host for today, and today we will peek into digital inclusion for tribal women entrepreneurs. So, Raha Foundation introduced MiraBills app, which is a Android-based app for first-time technology users to improve their bookkeeping practices and for their micro businesses. And despite low literacy levels, 550 tribal women were trained to use MiraBills, making it the most impactful technology adoption in the Palghar region. It is absolutely heartwarming for Raha team to see these women gain confidence and independence through technology and survival economics. So today we have founder and CEO of MiraBills, Piya Bahadur, with us on this podcast. Piya leads strategy and marketing, and under her able guidance, MB was a finalist in the Women's Banking Global FinTech Challenges 2023. Beyond her professional achievements, Priya completed a remarkable 17,000 kilometers all women motorcycle expedition in 2018 and has authored a book, Road to Mekong. So welcome, Pia. Very, very pleased to have you and quite keen to interact with you.
Thank you so much, Sonia. It's such a delight to be here, and thank you so much for the kind words. And I must add that we are at MiraBills so proud of our association with Ra Foundation and the 550 tribal rural women that we have, been able to train to use a digital medium. And kudos to your field teams again. My best wishes
Absolutely.
always.
Absolutely. They are the heroes. Yeah. So, Priya, first question comes like this. Can you share a bit about your background and just want to know what inspired you to start your business?
Yeah, I think I don't know if it's unconventional, but I suppose journeys lead to learnings and learnings lead to actions. And that's what essentially happened with me. Like you mentioned, in 2018, I had gone on this motorcycle ride where we covered 6 countries of Southeast Asia and 17,000 kilometers over 56 days. Of course, the scenery was beautiful. We had a great time, but we also stopped at a lot of small businesses along the way. Along the highways in India and in Southeast Asia, there are a lot of small businesses, especially in South India and in Southeast. There are a lot of women running these businesses also. But what I learned, and especially in India, was that these small businesses are really the backbone of our country. They support a lot of families, a lot of children, a lot of what the future is going to look like. Uh, and that is and they're not always very successful. And it's they are almost had no support other than whatever they might have learned along the way or from their parents, or if their parents ran businesses, they really seem to have no support. So that sort of set me thinking. Of course, also the advent of the penetration of smartphones, the cost of data has become so much cheaper. People are using UPI, digital is coming into its own. It seemed like India was poised on change, right? On the brink of change. And perhaps technology for built for this category of user could indeed be helpful and valuable for the very small business owners in our country. So that sort of started off, us thinking about MiraBills as a potential tool that could support very small business owners.
Absolutely inspiring. I mean, you just went on a trek and see what ideas you got exposed to. Fantastic to know. What do you think? What motivated you to focus on supporting, particularly these women-owned businesses? And yeah, I mean, and do you think there are challenges on the way? I mean, what is your take on that?
Oh yeah, I mean, great question, great question. We started out with supporting, I mean, thinking about small businesses as a group, okay, micro entrepreneurs, nano entrepreneurs, self-employed. Honestly, when we started, these distinctions are not very clear. But as we started talking to more and more, and so today we've trained about 23,000 very small business owners, 99% of them women. But when
23,000.
we,
That's a huge
yeah, so
number.
when we well, we've been privileged to do that. But when we started, we really didn't understand that how does one start and how does one think about it. But where, on the exposure to the first set of partners, and we started talking to, partners who are actually doing this, building financial and digital literacy and so on, that we realized that women adopt technology differently. Their access to phones is different. Their access to being able to download and learn stuff is different. They're spending most of the time in the houses, so a lot more hand-holding, support, mentoring is needed. And that's where we realize that, what, the rural woman entrepreneur is in a different, uh, has her own growth and her own path. You know, we cannot really club her with everybody else and hope that somehow it will trickle down to her. She'll lose out again. She's already at the bottom of this not so equal world. And if we don't help her succeed, then again she will be left behind. So therefore, we thought as an organization, on principle, let us support the rural woman entrepreneur, because really she's the one most, uh, you know, most deserving of all the help that she can potentially get.
Absolutely. Uh, how important it is, according to you, the networking and mentorship for the women entrepreneurs? And what advice do you have for these, for those who are seeking mentors?
See, absolutely. I mean, the challenges that women entrepreneurs face as a group is is one set. Okay, rural women entrepreneurs, yet another set.
Absolutely.
Uh, and some of the learnings can be, I'm a woman entrepreneur. I'm not a rural woman entrepreneur. I'm a highly educated woman entrepreneur with lots of mentoring and other support network available to me. Which is very different from especially the kind of folk you are supporting in Nepal, tribal women. See, I have the support of, so the challenges we all face is slightly different, but yet similar in some ways. She's also first to tech, like the woman entrepreneur you support. But the kind of mentoring, the kind of networking, the kind of community support, the kind of family support women need as a group remains same. That said, our rural women need a whole lot of other things happening. There is already some things happening for entrepreneurs like me. I mean, we were incubated at the Indian School of Business at D Labs. There is so much support being provided by IIM Ahmedabad, from NSR Cell. There are multiple networking sites for me. LinkedIn is open. But for our women who are living in rural India, these these pathways are not open. We have to create them. So far, I don't think we've thought very deeply about how this network helps. I mean, I get my best learnings from other peers, other women,
Yes.
other people who are running businesses, from peers. Uh, Mentoring, I mean, I remember my mentor saying that, don't expect anything to happen for the first 1,000 days. And that at some level helped me sleep better, because I'm thinking, yeah, how is the business going to grow? Is something happening? Am I succeeding? Am I doing okay? What is happening? It's the same for any entrepreneur. It's the same for our rural women also, who are wondering, who need some kind of, somebody to pat and say, it's going well. You're
Yes,
doing
it's
fine.
okay.
Continue. Put one step in front of the other. It will happen. Focus on this. Focus on getting things right. Focus on understanding your numbers. That kind of advice, and where this conversation happens. The reason I say it is important for women is because men are outside the house. They're spending a lot of time not just working. When women are going outside the house, it is for work. It is to buy groceries. It is to do a job. It is to take the child to the school, drop the child to the school, or some essential task which has to be done, and she comes back. Men, on the other hand, are standing in the khumchewala, in the chai store, in the pan bidi shop, and talking. And these discussions are very important because they're hearing other people talk about their business. It is a kind of networking that is beginning to happen. Whereas our woman is not getting that chance of freewheeling conversation that has nothing to do with her children or a mother-in-law or a cooking. So we really need to create these spaces. Yeah, that I see as really the next big challenge that we as women who are or as organizations supporting women entrepreneurs must recognize.
So my next question is how MiraBills is going to support ideas like networking and mentorship?
Yeah, see, MiraBills started out with helping the woman first understand the numbers in a business, which again is something women don't do very well. And the most business people sort of, yeah, I've got it in my head, I'll manage, I'll do, or ignore it completely. Or sometimes are ill-educated and cannot really figure that out, although they may have a sense of it. But Mirabel started from there. We started with basic bookkeeping. Then we realized that no, she needs to access markets, and so therefore catalog and online stores, and being able to do take orders, order management. Then we realized, oh, she also needs access to credit, like all businesses. So create a credit worthiness for her, help her look at the P&L and so on. And now what we realize, like we spoke, that there is a requirement for mentoring and there's a requirement for networking. And those are the two things we are working on. I mean, see, this is the age of AI. And really bringing in that to provide customized inputs for what your numbers show, what your business metrics are looking like, which business metrics to follow, to bring that in so that there is customized individual mentoring slash advisory that can happen for women is something that we are working on. Another thing that we're working on is building these communities, like we spoke, while she's sitting in the house, while she's watching her child do her homework or whatever, or, cooking or something. There is also this notion of being part of a group that is talking about business, that is talking about, I really got this right. And I found this really cheap vendor. And because I reduced my input costs, my profitability has gone up. That conversation. I'm looking forward for that conversation to happen amongst peers about within small business owners, women entrepreneurs, to have that kind of conversation and to build
Absolutely.
that community where they can have that conversation.
So you believe that technology can be leveraged to help women own businesses grow and thrive. I mean, we can, I mean,
Yes.
the journey of Mirabil shows us that. So my next question is, any nature of specific initiatives that have been particularly impactful in supporting women entrepreneurs?
uh, Especially the rural women entrepreneurs. You see, I mean, the initiatives such as yours, where
Okay.
not only is technology or support being brought to women. See, this is not a, as well as I do, that our ladies in Palgar, it's not like we can put technology or support or anything on the Play Store or on the cloud and somehow imagine that they'll find it. They're not likely to find it. So the most impactful innovations or most impactful work that is happening is taking it to the last mile. Which organizations, the government and other NGOs and what is called citizen organizations, and organizations like you are doing so beautifully, where the last mile is not ignored. We are not picking off only the easy fruit. Okay, ye to, let's throw it on the Play Store and market it, so it will reach whoever it has to reach. There are these initiatives which are bent on taking the right kind of information on how to run a business, how to become successful businesswomen, interventions, advice, training, capacity building to the last mile. That is, to me, very important initiatives that must be supported.
Absolutely. I mean, we have seen inertia in these women to, adapt to the technology or to, use that technology. But then in that case, someone from the family, maybe it's the educated son or maybe husband or maybe a daughter-in-law, they have stepped in and they have said, okay, I will teach you, I will be with you. And they are, helping them to track the entries or punch the entries in
Yeah,
MiraBills. So absolutely. I mean, what you were saying that there should be some mentors or some supporters within the family or within the ecosystems in which you
yes.
live. It's absolutely correct. So now we talked about leveraging the technology. We talked about specific initiatives. Now I just want to know,
Mhm.
what do you feel? What are the common misconceptions about work-life balance for women entrepreneurs, and how can these be addressed?
I don't think, Sonia, honestly, between you and me, other misconceptions about work-life balance, I think it's just understood that the women take the brunt of all the work in the
Absolutely.
house. There is no two ways about that, and especially in rural women, or women from not the metro areas, widespread, at least in metro areas, there's some kind of support. But so the work-life balance is what it is, and until that changes, where the men begin to take some share of it, uh, until that happens, I see a lot of conversations around the care economy, around providing daycare, childcare services to women, providing sometimes ready-made food and things like that. I think even in some states there is this big step towards providing cooked meals for women
Oh,
who are
yes.
self-employed. I mean, I thought was great, beyond the Anganwadis and so on, right? So there is this move towards providing this support, and I'm hoping that that will sort of even off some of the work-life balance, which right now is so horribly skewed that it's the woman who's actually being able to run her business should be, we should make one statue for her because it's really so hard. The sick child is your responsibility. The food on the table is your responsibility. Bad grades on on the report card of the child is your responsibility. Sick parents-in-law, parents are your responsibility. So with all that, and to run a business successfully, it's remarkable that so many women are, succeeding or doing well. So
Yes.
the work-life balance definitely needs to be looked at, and I think looking at it from the point of view of providing this care economy and the services, the care services for women, if by women, great, because then she becomes an entrepreneur in turn also, is really the next step towards balancing that out.
Correct. Correct. Yeah. So now that you have run this technology business for now a couple of years, so what emerging trends do you see for small businesses and women entrepreneurs in the near future?
Um, I think, like I said, technology remain is going to be one of the mainstays. I mean, not just in the case of using tools like MiraBills, but also e-commerce, but also social commerce. Being able to access markets online to share what they're making, to create hyper-local markets and to be participating in the larger tech, for example, ONDC. Not all of us, but some of us will be able to participate on that, being able to access lending online. So that digital technology is certainly going to be the path forward, which is why it's imperative that we don't leave our women behind. Just because they're first to tech or they're going to have a little harder time adopting, we have to help them get on and adopt and use all kinds of tech that is going to come up now and in the future even more so.
Okay.
Some of
So,
the, also there are a lot of government schemes. Sorry, go ahead.
no, I'm sorry.
There are government schemes. There are like organizations like you, organizations which are looking very deeply, state-led organizations also which are looking very deeply at providing support to
Hmm.
women entrepreneurs. So those are all very good emerging ideas and emerging trends. Well, hardly emerging; they've all been now around for 10 years. But the tech that supports all this is quickly becoming, really important.
Correct. Correct. So, being a successful businesswoman yourself, what piece of advice would you give to women who just, they have just started their entrepreneurial journey?
Okay, I would challenge the question, am I a successful businesswoman? I would
Absolutely.
like to go
You
with
are.
yes, but, or at least getting there. But I think women as a whole, we are all very underconfident. Look at me. I mean, I'm also not willing to accept success so easily, right? We tend to underplay. We also fear failure or worry about it. And I think as a group, we should just put those things aside. As a group of women, we should, uh, you know, build our support networks, build our friends and allies close, and find people who will just say, "You go, girl. You're doing a great job. Good, good, good." I don't want to hear, not necessarily that every day in the morning I want to hear people saying you're not doing well. Every day in the morning I want to hear at least one person saying you're doing a great job. I think as women we need that pat on the back, and we just
Absolutely.
enjoy being comfortable in our skin. So I would suggest that, but of course, as a business person, you must understand numbers. You must understand cash flow. I know many of us don't take to it very happily, but it is one of those things that running a business requires, to understand what is happening in the business in terms of numbers. Um, I think, like I said, build that community, build the support network. Don't worry so much about failure. And remember, it is one step in front of the next for a long time. And it's going to remain that for almost the rest of the time that we seek to run a business. That is, there are going to be ups and downs, there are going to be failures, and it'll look like, oh my goodness, I have no idea what I'm doing. But you do. You must convince
Absolutely.
yourself you do. and move
Absolutely.
forward.
Correct. Pia, just can you share a personal story of a significant milestone or maybe a breakthrough in your business journey that might inspire our listeners?
Um, yeah, I guess for me, the reason I get up every morning and push this forward is because of the kind of the philosophical stance MiraBills took as a business, that we realized, listen, we want to be a social enterprise. And that's when, and that sort of became more apparent to us because, as I said, when we were looking at how people are adopting, how small businesses, what is the kind of requirements they have, and so on, building the tech was one part of the story to support small businesses. But then, how does it get to people? How can they start using it? What does it take for adoption? And we realized that men and women are very different. The way men look at tech, who are slightly more adventurous, who will try out new features, who will learn from each other and all, versus women who need, a little bit more hesitant, who are a little bit more intimidated, who don't use tech as much, that's a whole new category. And that we must focus on that. And that to me was a pivotal point in the journey of MiraBills where we felt like, what, this is what I want to do. This is what, for me, the vision and growth and success metrics of MiraBills looks like. That this is the category we really want to help because while of course all of us want to do everything, uh, it's not possible. We're not going to boil the entire ocean. So at least this one part of the demographic that we want to choose to impact and focus upon, and identifying that, and all of us on the team being convinced that this is the way to go was a breakthrough. I mean, I remember that day we decided that what does our theory of change look like, and that was a fairly important day for us.
So, Pia, thank you very much for articulating all your thoughts, your learnings, your inspirations, your active brain behind it. We are really happy that we had you on this podcast and we got to learn so many things from you. And entire team Raha wishes you the very best for your future endeavors. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much, Sonia, and thank you again. And please give my love to the entire foundation because
Absolutely.
we've been on this really wonderful learning, exploratory learning journey with you. That it's always such a pleasure engaging with your team and you, of course. My
Truly
best wishes
appreciate.
always.
Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you. Bye bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.